This is Michael Woodward, and this is Season 2, Episode 66 of the Jumblethink Podcast.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Jumblethink Podcast, where we interview leading entrepreneurs about their journey of turning ideas and dreams into reality. Along the way, we'll give you tips and ideas of how you can turn your ideas and dreams into reality too. Today's guest is Anton Kraly. More about Anton in a moment. I'd like to invite you, wherever you like to listen to podcasts, head on over and click that subscribe button. We've made it easier for you if you like to listen on iTunes or Spotify. All you need to do is go to jumblethink.com/iTunes or jumblethink.com/Spotify. It will take you right to the app where you can click subscribe. So go on over and subscribe to the Jumblethink Podcast. Now let's get into today's episode with Anton Kraly. Hey there, welcome to the Jumblethink Podcast. My name is Michael Woodward. I am your host. We have an incredible episode lined up for you. Before we dive in, I want to thank today's sponsor, Opportunity in China. Have you been looking for a way to change your career or social prospects? Do you see the world around you changing and haven't quite figured out the path to take? Well, you're not alone in seeking opportunity. Visit Opportunity in China for access to scholarships to attend universities in China, or if you have a bachelor's degree already, opportunityinchina.com provides access to jobs in the educational sector all across China. Working in China is not only often well paid, but it will place you among 1/5 of the world's population, boosting your social network, bringing you more deeply into the global story, and opening doors you never knew existed. So seize your opportunity now. Visit their website to learn more about your opportunity at opportunityinchina.com. And by the way, they have a killer podcast that you can find on all the normal places that you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. So head on over to your favorite place to listen to podcasts and search for Opportunity in China. I think you're going to love the stories, so make sure to check out their podcast and learn more about their opportunities. Our guest today is Anton Kraly, and he is a serial entrepreneur. He has 15 years of experience building online businesses. He is the founder of Dropship Lifestyle and e-commerce lifestyle. He's got an incredible story, which I'm super excited to dive into. And then also he's helping people do amazing things to bring freedom to their lifestyle. So we're going to dive into all of that in a little bit. When we think of your business, Anton, and drop shipping, tell us what we really should be thinking about. How would you define what you do?
Sure. So first of all, let me just say thank you for having me on. But with drop shipping, if you go on Google and you search for it now in 2018, what you're going to see is a lot of people talking about selling products from China and kind of, just shipping them within 2 to 3 weeks and building these businesses on products that aren't really branded. And that's not at all what we do. So I guess to start, I would tell everyone to think of drop shipping from a 30,000 foot view. And all it really means, it's a method of fulfillment for a business. So let's just say you have an online store, and I'm speaking into a microphone right now. So let's say, Michael, you had a microphone store, michaelsmicrophones.com, and one of the brands you sold for was Anton's Microphones. If you got a sale on your website, you would then contact me at Anton's Microphones. We would ship this item to your customer, and you would make money by being the retailer. So that's how we do it. Basically, we sell items online. We represent other brands who focus on making great products, on manufacturing, on knowing what the market wants. And then our job as retailers is to sell these items just like any other retailer would do.
Okay, so you're not talking about the story we hear often, or I've heard over and over again through online entrepreneurs is, hey, go to Alibaba, brand a product, maybe change it a little bit so it becomes your own, have it shipped to you, put it in an Amazon fulfillment center, and then ship it out. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about like your example there, microphones. You're selling brands like Shure or all of these different brands of microphones that that are already like in maybe Guitar Center or in Musician's Friend. These are all places that are regular retail. You're talking about selling established brands, not creating your own.
That's correct. And even to me a little more specifically, we do sell for established brands, but we always try to go for what I consider mid-tier brands. So they wouldn't be the ones that are already everywhere, like the top two or three different brands that are dominating an industry. And the reason is just it helps to be able to get traffic and to get traction. But we want to be in a space where we sell, I don't want to say more obscure products, but products that aren't as easy to find again on any big box store like you just mentioned, like to walk into a Guitar Center. We want to sell the ones that people still want, but maybe there's some things that are a little bit different about them. Maybe they're up and coming brands, so they're not carried by these big box retailers.
Right. So basically, you're using that as a way to set yourself out. It's if it's a little bit more obscure, it doesn't mean it's not as good of a product. It just means that not everyone and their brother is selling it online or in a retail space.
Right. And usually it's because people can't even sell it in a retail space simply for sake of space. So another example I could give is, let's say you sold chandeliers, huge
Okay.
chandeliers for people's homes. You
Yeah.
can go to a Home Depot or to a Lowe's and you could buy a chandelier, but there's so many styles and variations and colors and just everything that literally there's hundreds upon hundreds of different brands that make these things because people have so many different tastes. So for something like that, it makes a lot of sense for the buyer to go online to find what they want. And again, those big box stores just simply can't carry every variation. So you want to find markets like that.
Okay, so consumer comes in, or not a consumer, an entrepreneur comes in and says, "Hey, I want to be the specialist in a specific space." How narrow do they need to become? You just talked about chandeliers and microphones
Mhm.
instead of music equipment and household lighting. How specific do people need to get to really find their traction
Right.
in the space that they're trying to?
And that is a great question. And one of the reasons that I think what we do with our stores works so well is because we do build what I call niche specific stores. So we will sell one
Okay.
product type. When I first got my start with e-commerce, I did build what I would consider a shopping mall type store, kind of like,
Yeah.
Amazon sells a little bit of everything, and you still can do
Right.
that. But the thing is, now to stand out and to actually build an audience, you really do want to be the expert. And that's one thing that customers do look for when they're buying online. If they can get something that feels more, I guess more unique for them or more curated for them, you will get higher conversion rates. So we do what I call niche down as much as possible. As a general rule of thumb, we want to find at least 20 different brands that make the product type we want to sell and at least 100
Okay.
products. So to go
All
back
right.
to the, let's just say, chandelier example, I'd want to be able to find at least 20 different brands that make these things and at least 100 SKUs, so different products between those 20 brands. If I could find that, it would get kind of a green light to go to my next step of market research.
Super cool. We're going to get more into the weeds of this in segment two. I want to step back and look at the broader picture for a moment. Now, you have two businesses, probably more than that
Mhm.
than we even know about, but you are the founder and CEO of Dropship Lifestyle and e-commerce lifestyle. What is it that you are specifically doing?
So a little bit of everything. We do have those
Okay.
two companies that you just mentioned. The Dropship
Yeah.
Lifestyle, I started. I want to say it was early 2013, maybe late 2012. E-commerce Lifestyle is a newer project that I started this year, but the e-commerce stores I started building way back in late 2006 is when I first took my traditional business online. So what it looks like now as a company and my role in our company, we have a little over 10 people on our team. And I consider what we all do just marketing, whether it's selling our physical products or selling online information or selling software that we make. We're, like any business, we're a marketing company. So our job is to make great products and get them in front of people. So what I do is kind of the bigger picture stuff, like think of different entry points to find new customers, different distribution, different ways to bundle products together, different ways to stand out from the competition. So that's kind of my role. And then again, our team of, I think we have 12 people right now. We put together these ideas into different sales funnels or content pieces and then focus on distributing them.
Now, are you mostly focusing on trainings or online courses, or are you also doing one-on-one consulting and actual build outs for customers on this kind of philosophy? Like, at what level do you interact with others? Not you specifically, but your business.
Mhm. So the way it works with the coaching programs we have is it mostly is online based and in the form of recorded videos and worksheets and online communities where people can get group engagement. And behind the theory behind that is just because it's a way to reach many people at once rather than one on one.
Right.
When I first started helping people, it was one on one, and personally, I got burnt out really quickly because I was getting obviously the same questions over and over, and a lot of them can be addressed through trainings that I put together that people can access on their own time for a more affordable price. So what it looks like now from the training side of the business is online courses we actually do have coaching calls available. I host one a month in a webinar format where I'll get on there, do a screen share, help anyone with any sticking points. And again, that's multiple people on the call, so I could help them all with their struggles and everyone could benefit from the answers. We also do a live event every year that we call a retreat, because it's a mixture of networking and education. So we've been doing those for the past 5 years. And then we do local meetups throughout the year also. We actually have one at the time we're recording this tonight in Manhattan where we just bring a bunch of people together. Those are just like free for the community, but a way to kind of bring the online world in person, because I know personally I've been working online for a long time now, and you feel very disconnected without even realizing it. But whenever you have a chance to meet the people you're communicating with on Facebook or in the forum in the real world, it just makes everything feel more real. So we definitely do try to incorporate that as well.
I love that because it feels like we are getting so far in this online space where we're becoming more and more disconnected from each other. So building that into what you're building is pretty cool, that you get face to faces and you can actually talk to real people and encounter them in an environment where you're networking, you're learning, you're doing all that stuff. So it's really cool that not only do you have the online portion, but you're doing that in person portion of
Yes.
your community. I want to
Yes.
go back a little bit here. Your entrepreneurial journey starts at a very young age. Tell us a little bit about that journey and the evolution of entrepreneurship for you.
Sure. So, yeah, I really started my first business by buying a business. And that was back in 2006. But that's when I first got out of school. I
Mm.
was 21 years old and trying to figure out what to do. But before that, I knew I did want to do something. I just wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I got to say, I was lucky in the sense that one of my family members, one of my uncles, he's an entrepreneur. And I realized ever since I have a memory of anything that the lifestyle that he kind of lived, having multiple homes and kind of fancy sports cars and boats and things that my family didn't have, I realized there was a clear difference. And when I kind of asked him as like a 5-year-old kid, why do you have all this stuff? He said, because I made the decision when I was in my late 20s that I was going to leave my job. I was going to venture out. I was going to start my own business. And it was a big risk, but it paid off. And, he basically said, like, I'm no smarter than your parents or anything like that. There's no big difference besides the fact that I just took this chance. So even going all the way back then, I just knew that I would try my own thing somehow. Now, this was in 2006 when I was first when I first finished school. And I didn't know at that point about online business at all. I really did think that to start an online business, you needed to be super wealthy already, or you needed to be some genius coder, or you needed to just know people. And yeah, I had, no idea what I was going to, I didn't think of online as even an option. So
So many of the philosophies that we have today on online e-commerce solutions, it's a completely different space.
right. Yeah, you needed to find some developer and meet
Yeah.
with them and get a price quote for a few $100,000s to do something. But so then my entrepreneurial idea was I was going to open a different franchise business. Like I thought I could open, maybe a Gold's Gym, and I can open a Subway and like the sandwich store. Like that was my plan.
Yeah.
So I was looking at all these business opportunities and thinking like, should I take out a loan from the Small Business Administration? What should I do? And right around then, I found a business for sale that was a delivery route for a
Okay.
bakery in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
Then so basically I bought this business for $25,000 when I was 21 years old.
Wow.
And what I bought was the rights to drive into Brooklyn every morning from Long Island, where I'm from, load up this truck with cookies, drive it back to Long Island in Nassau County, and distribute these things to grocery stores. So that was my first business. Realized really quick that it was terrible. Didn't want to do it, but had my life savings, plus some borrowed money poured into it, didn't know what to do. And then that's when I first did find out about e-commerce and the fact that you could build at that time a Yahoo store for $29 a month compared to, six figures.
Yeah.
And I thought, what do I have to lose? Let me try to build an online store. And I already have access to these cookies. So let me build a website called newyorkcookieshop.com, run AdWords, which had no idea what I was doing, but set them up targeting people outside of New York saying like, hey, do you miss New York bakery cookies? Buy them and we'll ship them to you anywhere in the country. And within a few weeks, that first online store was making more money than that business I spent $25,000 for. But I wasn't driving into Brooklyn. I was having the bakery fulfill orders. Yeah. So I was drop shipping even back then. And I just realized like, this is for me. Like I get e-commerce now. Definitely didn't know anywhere near what I know now, but I knew there was an opportunity. So I just started to sell more and more expensive products because I figured, I'm selling $20 boxes of cookies. Can I sell $1,000, home entertainment centers? Like what else can I do? So I just worked my way up to more and more expensive products.
Super, super, super cool. You are doing some cool stuff helping others, and you obviously are building your own business. Tell us how you're finding fulfillment, significance, or purpose in what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. With the e-commerce side of things, I do it because I enjoy it. I got to say the fulfillment that I get out of building like an e-commerce store and building relationships with suppliers and getting AdWords to be profitable, that's more of like, I guess, a game almost. Like it's fun. So that's one good thing. And I would tell anybody that wants to get into e-commerce or any type of online business, you really should enjoy the process because it doesn't feel like work if you're like playing a game almost, like getting everything structured together, getting your website to be optimized for conversions, getting traffic. So from that side of the business, winning that game is the fulfillment. Yeah. From the training side of it, that's just totally different. And that worked out to be extremely profitable also, which is great. Not going to complain about that. But the fulfillment there is, we could do things like our meetups every year and like the one we're having tonight. And I could see people in person and they tell me stories like, yeah, thanks to you, I was able to leave my job, or I built this business that supplemented my income, or I built a store and sold it for six figures. So that's a totally different, I guess, feeling of fulfillment. And I think they're great to have in collaboration.
For you right now, what's one challenge that you're currently working to overcome in your business?
So that's a good question. I would say determining how many people we want on our team and how to grow without, I don't want to say without feeling too corporate, but how to grow where everyone still does work as a team and we can not feel like something I don't want to become. So yeah, hiring and managing and making sure everyone's always on the same page has been a little bit difficult. It's something we've been trying to do for the past few years.
Staffing is one of those things that it is a can of worms that once you open it, it just crawls all over you. That's for sure.
Sure. So yeah, I'll just to mention on that, like if you have any advice, I'll take it. But we were based overseas. Actually, I was living abroad for about 4 years in Southeast Asia, and we were growing our team out in Vietnam. Yeah. But I was hiring a bunch of people from the States, and they were coming out there. And then I thought, you know what, we're continuing to grow. I do want to hire more people, so we relocated our business to Austin in Texas. And I thought we were going to go back there. We'd hire a bunch of people that were experts in their field. And what I realized is we were actually doing better with people that I was hiring that were marketing assistants at first, that were being trained on the way we do things, that were growing with our company. So it was been very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that experience too in the web space. From a development standpoint, the developers we were bringing on, we brought in all kinds of people, and the people that seemed to do the best were the ones that either just were passionate about it, they learned it on their own, or we brought them in and we kind of taught them our philosophies, our standards, our expectations. And those were the best employees. They weren't necessarily the people that were these hot shots that we brought in who knew it all, worked with the big shots, and now they're working for us. And sometimes they were the most headache creating individuals in the organization. So
Yes, we've had the same exact experience. So good to know. It's not just us.
no, it's not just you, that's for sure. Now, you have so much success. You have grown multiple businesses, made them profitable. You started the dropship lifestyle, e-commerce lifestyle, which is new. For you, what's the next big goal in your dream for where you want to take the business?
Yeah. So the next big goal is kind of to widen our message, I would say. So the fulfillment side that I do get from helping people to kind of get what they want out of life and to get more freedom in their lives by being entrepreneurial, it's great. And again, I love that, and I want to see more of that. And one thing that I'm realizing now, after 5 years of running Dropship Lifestyle, is that I don't think that's going to be the answer for everyone. And I don't think that message will reach the masses. So I'm trying to think of other ways that I can, I guess, just share information and let people know there are other options out there for how you live your life and what you get out of it. And if you're not happy, it's okay. Like, even if you get a job that allows you to work remote, or that, rewards you for the work you do in a more meaningful way, or that, actually appreciates what you do. So trying to start to build into all of the content that we do put out more of that messaging, and actually working on a book as well that hopefully can impact more people. Because I know for me personally, like, a lot of the big lessons that have helped me since I was a kid came from different books that just opened my mind to more possibilities. So trying to spread that message more and really refine it.
Super, super cool. We're going to be back for segment 2 with Anton, going deeper into drop shipping, what it means, how you can do it, the lessons he's learned, and much, much more. We'll be right back. So you have big ideas and dreams and you want to make them a reality. One of the ways we help is through this podcast, but we also have free guides that you can download right from our website. All you have to do is go to jumblethink.com/guide, and you can download any number of our free guides. The most recent is the Dreamer's Method to Micro Experiments, where we break down how you can use micro experiments to start making those big dreams and ideas a reality. So swing on over to jumblethink.com/guide to download your free guides. We are super excited to be partnering with opportunityinchina.com to teach you about some opportunities that you may not know that exist. So here's a word from them on what they do and how they can help you.
At the dawn of the 19th century, forward-thinking people moved to the commercial centers of Europe. Moving into the 20th century, America welcomed millions into the land of freedom and opportunity. It is now the 21st century. Many of the successes and fortunes of our generations will be made in China. To learn how you can seize opportunity in China, follow the Opportunity in China podcast. The Opportunity in China podcast is available anywhere podcasts are streamed, or you can visit our website at opportunityinchina.com.
Now let's return to our conversation with Anton Kraly. We are back with Anton to talk more about drop shipping and how you can build a business around drop shipping that just helps you live the lifestyle you want. So before we dive into this, I want to make sure people know how they can find and connect with you. So how can they find and connect with you?
Sure. So just to get more information and see everything that we're talking about in more detail, it would be best to go to dropshiplifestyle.com. And if you want to contact me, you have any questions or anything, you can email Anton at dropshiplifestyle.com.
Now, I have a lot of friends that I talk to. Some of them have done drop shipping. Some of them have gone to the extremes of creating their own products and having them manufactured and then shipped to them. And then they, like we talked before, send it to a fulfillment center and then they create their online presence. It's an overwhelming thought to go in and say, hey, I'm going to go create an e-commerce lifestyle. I'm going to go do the drop ship thing. I don't know where to start. I don't know how much it's going to cost me. What do I even do to get started? So tell us a little bit about that process of going from zero to having some kind of concept of what you need to do.
Yes. And it's such a good point to bring up, even people that have all the money in the world, right? And they say, I want to get into e-commerce because I have this idea, and I don't know, let's just say it's for a bed frame. They say, I could picture this bed frame. I really want this thing and I can't find it anywhere. So I want to make one, and I have $1 million to throw at this business and have it manufactured and import them and rent warehouse space and get the expensive insurance and do all that. Even for that person, I would recommend the same thing that I would recommend to the person that said, I have $300 and I have 10 hours a week and I want to hustle and make something work. I'd recommend both of those people start the same way. And that is with the traditional type of dropship store that we build. And the reason is because if you do this right, not only do you make money, but you're getting market research. And what I mean by that is you're building your audience because you're running ads. People are buying from you. So you're seeing what products sell, and you're learning what your customers like, what they don't like, and how the market responds to your offers. So then once you made money from it, once you have all the questions answered, once you know what the best-selling products are, then you can invest your money into a product that would fit well into your product catalog. So yeah, I just want to say that for anyone that does think like, well, I don't want to start this because again, I have money and I have an idea. Let me just put it into something. A lot of people do that. And then those are the people that, for example, you see on Shark Tank that say, we just refinanced our house. Can we please have money? And everyone says no. So don't be that person. So So with the process, I guess, from the beginning, step one is obviously figuring out what type of product you want to sell. Some things that we look for are the price point. So we do focus on more expensive products on a minimum $200. We don't want to sell anything for less than that. And then I would say like on the higher end, $5,000, $6,000, that still works with the traditional e-commerce type store. There will be more phone calls, of course. There will be more pre-sale process, but it's worth it.
Right.
And typically our average order value is closer to $1,000 if anyone wants to use that as like a general rule. Some other things that we look for besides just price when it comes to product types are the basically the people that it appeals to. And we're looking for products that do appeal to what I would consider the upper middle class. So combined household income of around $100,000 or more. And reason there is those people are already comfortable spending money online, and they're more comfortable just placing an order without having to contact a whole bunch of times. The return rate is much lower with that segment of people. So we look for that. And then I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but selling for different brands that are a little bit more obscure, things that you can't just find at any given store, and things that people have more of a reason to go online to try to find.
Okay, so they've picked their space.
Yes.
They've figured out what they want to do when it comes to the products. They've got that figured out. Now, there's a whole lot of pieces that you mentioned in there. There's the technology piece. How are they building out their store? And there's solutions like Amazon. You can list there. There's Shopify. There's WooCommerce. There's tons of commerce engines. I mean, you can even do it on Squarespace for that matter.
Sure.
And so you've got that end, you've got the technical piece, and they're going, well, that's overwhelming. And then you've got the piece of okay, you just said I have to run ads. I don't know what that means. Okay, so Facebook ads, Google ads, what works, what doesn't work? I don't know how to put an ad campaign together. And then they're going, you just mentioned that, for especially the higher ticket things, we're going to get phone calls. I don't have the time for that. How can they really start diving into these areas and get the understanding of like, it's not difficult to build a shop. It's not as overwhelming to do ads as you think it is. It's not as difficult to manage the time that's going to take if you're just doing this as a side hustle. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, I would say, you definitely should be prepared to put in time and work because this is a real business. It doesn't mean you can't do it as a side hustle because a lot of people do, but just know that, it's going to take real work and you will have to put in that work before you get money out of it, because like any business, you have to build a foundation. Like you mentioned, you have to build the store, you have to set up your ads, you have to do the work first, and then you see the rewards later. So just have that mindset going into it. But once you have your product type figured out that you want to sell, before you even build your store, before you even get to that step, the next thing you want to do is just go to google.com and start looking for these products that you want to sell. So if it was chandeliers, just search on Google for chandeliers and then go to the whole first page of results, open all those links and start trying to find if the online stores that you're seeing if they are also offline stores. So do they have retail showrooms? Do they have warehouses? And it will say that all on their About Us page, their contact us page. And if you're finding other online stores that sell the product type you want to sell, that do not have retail stores, that do not have warehouses, then again, you kind of have a green light, like, okay, I think this is worth doing because these other online stores are drop shipping, so I could do that too. Now, once you have that figured out, that's, for me, that's a strong enough indicator that it's worth it to actually build the store. And in order to do that, we use Shopify for our e-commerce stores 100% of the time. For anyone that's not familiar with Shopify, they're the biggest e-commerce platform there is right now. There's over 600,000 stores on their platform. And some of those ones you mentioned, I started on Yahoo stores. I've used WooCommerce, Magento, Volusion, BigCommerce, like all these platforms. And Shopify just makes it so easy. So if you are worried about the technical stuff, I would say don't be. They just make it super easy on everyone. So that's what you would use to build your store. For tutorials and whatnot, there's plenty of them online that could walk you through the process of how to set stuff up, but it's pretty much drag and drop, and their support is some of the best. Once you do that, though, then it really does become time to actually get people to your website. And and again, like, it's something that once you figure out, it'll feel like second nature. But like any of the stuff, there is a learning curve. For the type of ads that we use, you mentioned Facebook ads. We do use them for our e-commerce stores, but almost 100% for remarketing. I'm not, I guess, for sake of time and not having like a visual representation, I won't get into that. But they make it very easy through Shopify apps to set up Facebook remarketing campaigns. But the main source of traffic that we use is Google product listing ads. So if anyone's ever went on google.com before and searched for, again, any product, like type in chandelier, you'll see the Google ads, the search text ads, which are the ones on top that say all text. You'll see the organic ads, but then to the right, you're actually going to see images of, in that case, chandeliers. And under those images, there's going to be a price. And under the price, there's going to be a store name. And those are there because people pay to have them there. And that's called Google product listing ads. Those are by far our highest converting source of traffic. So I would highly recommend anybody that is in e-commerce or that's getting into e-commerce utilize that ad type, because they just convert higher than anything else we've ever seen. And they've been doing so since I started. So definitely recommend using those.
Now, what is the bottom level, entry level to get into this kind of thing? Like, what is the investment somebody's going to have to make this work?
Yeah, it's more time than money because it really doesn't cost much. Shopify, for example, they do all of your hosting there. You can use Shopify payments, which is how you'll get money. They have designed the front end of your store, have the back end admin management. That costs $29 a month. So, that's your expense, $29 a month there. You have to, of course, buy a domain name. You could buy it through Shopify. They charge you, I think, $14 a year. And then beyond those costs, if you're going to do the work yourself, meaning if you're not going to outsource web design, you're not going to outsource traffic, which I wouldn't recommend you do at first, then maybe you're going to put a few $100s into ads and see what becomes profitable. So really, a few $100s is more than enough. Especially with ads, like people do worry about that because I mentioned paid traffic a lot because we love to be able to pay Google $1 and get 2 back. Like that's very good. And everybody should want to do that. Don't be afraid of paid traffic. But the good news with the type of stores that we build, we will see if the ads are going to convert or not within a few days. So it's not like advertising where we have to wait a month to see if our ads are going to be profitable. When people do land on our store, they're going to make their buying decision within 2 or 3 days. So you get a quick return on your money and you could see if it's profitable or if your ads are losing, and you should try again. So definitely something important to keep in mind.
Now you you wanted to be an entrepreneur since you were a kid and seeing that family member. For you jumped into a space that you weren't passionate about. And I think that we live in an age, especially with millennial generation, where passion is so significant for the journey that they're on. When should you follow passion in the dropship space, and when shouldn't you?
I would say when it's profitable. So if you're passionate about something, and maybe let's just say it's you're into mountain climbing, and I've never researched that industry before, so I don't know. But let's just say that there's mountain climbing supplies that are $200 or more. They appeal to the upper middle class, which I'm assuming they do, and that there are tons of brands out there that sell products people want that aren't readily available by just, driving down the street and going to Target. Well, if it meets that criteria and you're passionate about it, then that's great because it meets the criteria that we look for anyway. But let's just say that you don't have a real passion, or your passion doesn't meet any of this criteria, then make your passion, and this is really important message, like make your passion making the business work. And that's why I think I've been able to do so well with my e-commerce stores that sell things, product types that I'm just not interested in. I'm interested in getting people to actually want to choose our site. I'm interested in getting our ads to get the highest return on ad spend. I'm interested on working with experts to get the best content on our sites for that audience. And if that's what you're passionate about, just giving the best experience to customers and making your store successful, then it doesn't matter what you sell because you can make everything else work.
That's super, super cool. I love that because I think there's a time and place where passion should drive you. But you can also use a business like this to help fund those passion projects.
Mm-hmm.
You could build something where it's generating revenue or the freedom or the lifestyle you want so that you can pursue the things that you're passionate about. And I think that's important too, because sometimes it's not about building a business that feeds your passions, but sometimes it's building a business that allows you to live your passions.
Such a good point. So one of our students, I met him. He's from California, but I met him when I was living out in Thailand, and he was a scuba diving instructor, and he got that job because that was his biggest passion, loved scuba diving. And then he realized, he was telling me, like, now that I'm doing this every day and like having to just work with 20 beginners, he started to actually not enjoy his passion. He started to hate his passion. So he built a drop shipping store selling something he wasn't interested in at all, but he was able to manage his store in 30 minutes a day, and then got to quit his job as a scuba diving instructor, and then could go scuba diving when he wanted, wherever he wanted. And then it was something he loved again. So yeah, sometimes you don't want to work in your passion all day, every day, because it can burn you out and make you not enjoy it anymore.
Okay. So let's say I am interested. Let's just do a hypothetical here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I go, hey, something I know a lot about, something I enjoy is guitar amps, tube amps. Let's say that's my niche. And I go in and I say, hey, you know what? I think I can make this work. This is, that upper middle class spectrum. This is the cost. It's super hot right now. There's some brands out there that are massive, like Vox and Fender, but then there's a lot of not as well-known amp manufacturers like Two Rock or Benson or Morgan. And so I go and say, these are the, let's say, three brands. We'll just minimize this a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I reach out to them and they go, hey, we'd love to have you be a distributor, but we're not interested in drop shipping. That's just not what we do. How do you navigate that issue?
So that's one reason that when we're doing our market research, after we've chosen the type of products we want to sell, we're like, if that was the scenario, I would go to Google and I would look up guitar amps. And again, I'd pull up like the top 20 e-commerce stores I could find that sell them. Mm-hmm. And then I would be going through those sites to see if any of them are online only. And the way that I would do that is just by, again, looking, does it have an address? Does it say, come visit us here? And then I would try to find the ones that don't mention any physical presence. And to me, that means that the brands that I find there do technically drop ship, because if the company had a warehouse or if they had a showroom, they typically talk about that on their website. So that's how we kind of do our research. I wouldn't recommend, I know this isn't what you would want to do, but I wouldn't just go to like guitarcenter.com, look in guitar amps, and then contact all those brands. Because you know, what are the chances they're gonna be like, oh, okay, great. So you want to find people that are already selling the stuff you want to sell, and that'll give you insight into whether or not these companies do work with online retailers. But one other quick note I'd make on that is the term drop shipping. We use it for our company so people can find us that want to get into this business model, but we never use that with suppliers or brands. So hypothetically, again, if you were going to reach out to those companies, you never want to say, I'm calling from whatever, myamps.com, and I was wondering if you drop ship. That term, because so many beginners get into this business model and don't really think about it as a long-term business, it doesn't have a good association. So the way that we phrase it is, we say we're calling from, say, antonsamps.com, and I'd like to speak to the person in charge of opening new accounts for online retailers. So we phrase it that way, online retailers instead of drop shipper.
Yeah, which is a really good distinction, because that if I were to call up someone, I would have said, "Hey, do you guys do drop shipping?"
Hmm.
And to know that going into it is, I think, a huge, powerful tool to say, "Okay, this is the way I need to approach it." Now,
Definitely.
do a lot of these businesses go, "Hey, yeah, we'll set this up," or do they do kind of that distributor model where you have to buy a certain amount of products, pre-order, that kind of thing? How do you navigate those issues?
So I would say 90% plus will just, they'll send you paperwork via email, and it's simple. It's just asking for like your name, your contact information, the websites you'll be selling their products on. So that's typically the approval process, and no minimum order, no fees. That's another big red flag. If anyone ever says, yeah, you could sell our stuff, but there's a $200 joining fee and then it's whatever, $50 a month. That's just, no, you don't want to do that, because the companies that you want to sell for should also want you to sell for them, and it's a
Right.
mutual beneficial
Right.
relationship because you're making money together. So yeah, don't pay fees. If they do tell you they want that, then it's just a middleman. You don't want to work with them. Sometimes they will say, and that 5 to 10% of occasions they'll say, okay, you could sell our products, but we require a deposit of X amount of dollars, or a guarantee that you're going to place X amount of dollars of orders in the first year. We do, as much as possible, try to get out of that. And the way that I'll say it is, we haven't actually listed your products yet. So how about we try a test for a month? We list them on our website, and then we'll have a better idea of how much we could actually sell. Sometimes that's good enough. If you already have a website that's established and have traction, then you can kind of get out of that. But if you're brand new, sometimes you will have to say, yes, we agree that we'll buy at least $2,000 worth of your guitar amps in the next 12 months. So that can happen. Again, it's the less likely thing they'll say, but it does come up.
I love that you're redefining some of the terms and how you communicate it, in that uh, there's ambiguity in the word drop shipping. So many people define it differently and interpret what that means. When you're thinking about starting a drop ship business, and there's different models to approach this, why do you feel like this model is the model that sets you up for best success compared to the Amazon shop, or
Mhm.
having a product made in Asia or India or wherever else, have it shipped over? Why do you think this model is the most sustainable and best one for
Sure.
people?
So if you were looking at, let's just say, a few different options, the option of doing it the way that we do it, being a retailer, you have the benefit, again, of making money while getting the information of what sells. And let's say you sold those guitar amps and you realized, wow, this is what sells like crazy. This is what people want, but they have this one complaint. Then that's when you can private label and tweak your own product. So not that I don't recommend that business model, but I recommend it kind of as a later stage.
Mm.
So still totally an option. As far as the other methods of drop shipping, the one that I don't understand why people do, but they still do it, is what I would call the arbitrage model, which is
Okay.
where they'll sell an item on their website, then they'll try to find it for cheaper on Amazon or Walmart, then they'll buy it and then have it shipped to their customer. And the reason I don't recommend doing that is because honestly, it's a waste of time. You're not going to make
Yeah.
much money doing it, and
Yeah.
it's not a business. Like no one's going to want to buy that from you. That's not an asset,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're not going to have happy customers. So the way that I like to think of it, so one thing I realized after being in e-commerce for a few years is these businesses actually become very sellable assets, and people spend
Yeah.
a lot of money to buy them. So the
Okay.
one thing that's going to make your business worth more besides revenue is it growing, and how is it going to grow? It's by actually giving your customers what they asked for, giving them a great experience, having them not, complain, not file chargebacks, and more importantly, have them buy from you again and tell their friends to buy from you. So if you want to have them be in that second bucket of people that leave you reviews and tell people about you and are happy that they chose your store, then you can't be selling them something, shipping it in 3 weeks, having it arrive in a dirty box with Chinese letters all over it and not being what they expected. Like that's not going to work long
Yeah.
term. And again, if you want to do the manufacturing in China, I've done that a lot as well, but that should be something you do later in the game.
You're working with these companies, you're selling for them. How do you work out the pricing scheme? Like, I've heard triple mark, I've heard all these
Mhm.
different terms in the retail space. How are you pricing things, and how do you stay competitive in a saturated market?
So it's really, really simple the way that we do it with the supplier types we work for. So because again, there's a process. If I found a brand I want to work for, I contact them. They send me the basically supplier agreement. I fill that out. I send it back. Now, part of what I'm signing when I'm filling out the supplier agreement is that I'm agreeing to their MAP policy. So MAP stands for a minimum advertised price. And basically what that says is you're not going to sell our products for less than, it's always different, but let's say you're not going to sell our products for less than 3x wholesale. So if I was selling chandeliers and my wholesale cost for one of them was $300, that means I couldn't sell it for less than $900. And what's great about that is I'm not the only one signing this. Every one of the retailers are signing that. So you're not competing on price because you can't break that price. And let's just say I said, you know what, I'm going to sell this thing for $700. Well, that company would ban me as a retailer. They wouldn't fulfill my orders and they'd make me take all their stuff off my website. So we sell products for MAP, minimum advertised price. And just so everyone like understands, I guess, how the process works. If I got approved for that, let's just say the chandelier company, when they sent me the price list, it would have 3 different prices. So first would be that wholesale cost, which in that case would be $300. Then it would have MAP, minimum advertised price, which in that case would be $900. Then it would have MSRP, so manufacturer suggested retail price. And on a product like that, maybe that's $1,200. So the $1,200, no one's ever going to sell it at. That's the price you see on your website that has, it has the strike through it. Then it says it's $900 now. And we just do that because, again, that's what everybody does. So technically you're competing on price because it's all the same price, but you're not undercutting that.
As we finish up this part of the segment, I want to make sure we talk about your online courses because there's a lot of value there in what people are able to learn and start the process of drop shipping. So I have that you have 3 online courses: Dropship Labs, Dropship Lifestyle, and then the 10-day mini course. Tell us about those and how they're going to help people.
Okay, so with the mini course, it's really 10 days of training. So different kind of videos that go over the fundamentals of dropshipping. So that's perfect for anyone that's brand new to this and wants to see if it's for them. Our 10-day advanced plan is all of those videos, except it also includes a course that we made on how to source suppliers and our phone and email scripts that you use when communicating with them to have a better chance of getting approved. And it also includes a supplier directory that we put together that includes over 8,300 different brands that would be good to work with for your store. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of them. And that's like just barely scratches the surface with how many are out there. But then our premium course, the main one, the Dropship Blueprint, and that's what actually won Best E-commerce course. Shopify voted it Best E-commerce course out of all the ones out there. That includes over 40 hours of over-the-shoulder videos, watching me do everything on my computer via screen share, from finding suppliers to getting approved with them, to building a Shopify store, to optimizing it for conversions, to setting up traffic campaigns, to installing different apps that help with automation. So really everything for the person that's just like, yep, I'm doing this. That's what they want to look at.
That's really, really cool. And how can people find and connect with you, find those courses, connect with you further?
Yeah, dropshiplifestyle.com, and then just click courses in the header menu. And then to contact me, Anton at dropshiplifestyle.com.
We will be right back with rapid fire questions. Love the Jumble Think podcast, but can't get enough of our incredible guests? Maybe you need bite-sized episodes too. Well, here's how we're helping. We are launching a second podcast called The B-Side, where we're inviting more entrepreneurs in a shorter format to share their story. But it doesn't stop there. We want you to be part of the conversation. Here's how. Each episode will be recorded live on Facebook Live. So swing on over to facebook.com/JumbleThink, become one of our friends, and when we go live, join the conversation, ask your questions, and become part of the B-Side. If you miss it on Facebook, you'll also be able to check it out on iTunes and Spotify, all the normal podcast channels, and also on YouTube. So get ready for the B-Side. It's going to be awesome. Now let's dive into rapid fire questions with our guest, Anton Kraly. We are back with Anton for rapid fire questions. Anton, are you ready for rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
All right, so the first question we always ask is, what is one tip you'd give someone with a big idea or dream and they don't know where to start?
Don't even worry about if your starting point's the right point. Just start somewhere. Just get to work, and just the more action you take, it'll make you do more. So doesn't matter if you don't know the order, just do something and keep your eyes open for opportunities. If anyone ever asks you about what you're doing, say yes. If you could take any meetings about it, take them, and just do whatever is in front of you at the moment.
What is one change you'd like to see in the world?
I would like to see more people actually I don't want to say this too negatively, but I want to see more people actually enjoy their lives and get what they want out of it. I feel like there's so much commotion in day-to-day life and so many things pop up that people don't even have a chance to explore what they actually want to do. And as far as we know, we only get one life. So I wish more people had the opportunity to explore it.
Now, I'm going to throw you a wild card question. These are different depending on who I'm talking to and everything like that. Today's question is, you have lived in so many places. You were talking about growing up in Brooklyn, or not, well, growing up, I think, in Long Island and working from Brooklyn. And then you've lived in Asia in different locations. You've been around the world for different things. Where's your favorite place?
If I didn't have to worry about, I have a 8-month-old baby now. If I didn't have to worry about school and getting him the quality of life that I want for him, my favorite place to live is Saigon in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. For you, what do you want your legacy to be?
That I helped people to be able to explore what actually makes them happy in life and gave them more of an opportunity.
Where do you find inspiration?
I would say podcasts. Honestly, I listen to a lot of different people and I hear different people's stories because I know I don't know it all. So I love to hear what other people have to say and get different takeaways.
What is one book you think every dreamer or entrepreneur should read, and why?
You've probably heard this one before, but I got to say the 4-Hour Work Week. I read that in 2007. It introduced me to Yahoo Stores and AdWords for the first time. So it's a great starting point for anyone that's brand new to this whole game.
What is one tool that is significant for the success of your business?
Shopify. We use them for all of our e-commerce stores now. So we can make it work without them, but they make life a lot easier.
What is one habit you find helpful in your life as an entrepreneur?
One habit, I would say planning the night before what I'm going to do the next day.
Okay. And how do you start and finish your day?
I start by just going through that list and kind of trying to do the Brian Tracy eat that frog technique of tackling the biggest thing first and finishing the day. Probably play on my phone too much and check email, but nothing special.
If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what do you think you'd be doing?
If I never got into e-commerce, I probably would own a Gold's Gym and maybe a handful of Subway sandwich stores. That's my goal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is one dream you're still wanting to fulfill in your own life?
So longer term, I want to have a home in Italy and I want to have a penthouse apartment on Central Park. Don't have either of those yet, so working towards those. Yeah.
As we wrap up today's episode, I want to give you a moment to give us a final thought to leave us with today.
Sure. Yep. I would just end it with saying anyone, whatever your idea is, something, again, that I learned, I think, from my uncle when I was a kid, but that's made a huge difference for me, is that the people that you see that might be in the position you want to be in, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, it's not because they're smarter than you. It's not because they're better than you. It's just because that they learned something different, maybe through a book, maybe through a mentor, maybe through a course, and they took action on it. They took some calculated risks. So whatever you want to do, it's possible. We all have the same amount of time. It's just a matter of where you're putting your time. So always focus on action, and there's no reason you can't be wherever you want to be in life.
Anton, it's been super fun having you on the podcast. Thanks for taking time out, sharing a little bit of your story, giving us a glimpse into this world of drop shipping and how it can impact us.
Thank you.
Once again, we want to thank today's guest, Anton Kraly, for taking time out, sharing his story, and giving us a fresh perspective on how we can approach drop shipping to grow our own businesses. Once again, we want to thank today's guest, OpportunityInChina.com, for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you check out what they're doing and how you can learn and also teach abroad and build a lifestyle that you never imagined. Also, make sure to check out their very cool podcast. I want to encourage you, Anton is just the tip of the iceberg. We have over 166 episodes. We want you to check them out, so make sure you subscribe to the Jumble Think podcast and check out some of our past episodes with amazing entrepreneurs that will challenge you to chase your big ideas and dreams too. As we wrap up today's episode, it's your turn to make a change in the world. It's your turn to make a change in your life. Begin to take small steps to making your ideas and dreams a reality. Without making movement, the ideas will never go past an idea and become maybe your next product or service or a message to change the world. We need you in this world, and we need what you were created to do. So go get out there and chase that dream. Chase the thing you were created to do. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, dream big and change the world around you.
Les mères de famille, les enfants, peuvent également prendre un moment revitalisant. Dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps, vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.